Hey, it's Julie Ziemelis, 365 Hawaii, and I'm with Real Broker, 365 Hawaii Group, as you can see behind me, and my husband, Eric, is my team member, and we are here with Amber Haley, with Real, and we also have Joe Eagan with Wynn and Eagan team, and we have a smaller batch this week, this month, to give you guys some information. We will be having the West Hawaii update first week in June, and hopefully Amber's going to be doing her East Hawaii, but we're going to do a little bit of the East Hawaii today, and Eric's going to be talking about the different neighborhoods that we track every month, and we're hoping that we get some people who actually want to ask some questions on this one. But let's start with, you know what? Financing and money is the number one thing we all want to know about. What's going on with the rates, Joe?
Sure. So I was actually kind of hoping this phone call was going to be last week because for the last week we had some positive news in regards to rates. So over the last week, mortgage rates fell below 7% for the first time in over a month. So we had some positive inflation numbers come out, which helped bring mortgage rates down. Now, we took a couple steps forward in regards to lowering rates. However, today was kind of a step back, but nothing major. I honestly don't anticipate mortgage rates doing anything for the next couple of months. So the Fed's meeting both in June and July. I don't anticipate that they're going to do anything at either of those meetings. I just think they're going to keep the rates steady through those two meetings. We got to keep an eye on both inflation and unemployment numbers. I've kind of said that on the last couple of meetings that we've done here, that inflation is coming down, which will then help benefit and lower mortgage rates. However, they have a inflation number of 2% that they want to hit. I don't know if we're going to necessarily get there quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the other factor that we're watching is going to be unemployment. Unemployment currently is at 3.8%. I think if it gets over 4%, then I think the Fed's going to come in and start doing something in regards to cutting rates.
Mm-hmm.
So I really have, and this is just my mortgage, I've been doing this since 2006, my educated guess that at the September meeting, if I were a betting man, I would guess at that point, then they're going to cut rates.
Oh.
Nothing drastic, but based upon every indicator, every economic, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they kind of anticipate by the end of 2024, rates would be at about 6.25%. So nothing drastic, but some hope towards the end of the year.
Yeah, it's better
So
than
I
7
think
point
with
whatever.
I think with the election coming up, I think that's going to play a factor in it. I think politics kind of play a role and can help inflation come down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
although not ideal. I think they will play a part in it. And it's the current administration's benefit to show that inflation is under control, that they kind of got it under control. So I anticipate that's why I'm banking on in September. That's kind of where I am earmarked. I think the Fed's going to do something at that point.
Okay, so you're thinking September, that way that people will notice it by the time that they have to vote in November.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, and but the Fed basically kind of operates outside of who's in office.
Correct. Yes, it's not a political party. It's not aligned to a political party at all. But if you look at inflation just came down.
Okay.
Okay. We just got a favorable inflation report.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, coffee is skyrocketing, cocoa is skyrocketing. They decided to take that out of inflation numbers, right?
Yeah.
Hence why the inflation numbers came down.
Because
Ironic.
coffee's
I don't know
going
why
up.
they would do that.
So it's coffee's so the price of coffee's going up?
Price of coffee went up 73%.
Whoa. What
Mm-hmm.
the?
So the BLS that monitors inflation, they actually took it out of this most recent inflation data. That's why inflation came in slightly favorable. Nobody was anticipating that. Obviously, nobody knew, right? But if you Google it, that was actually taken out of the most recent inflation numbers, which helped it, which then obviously helped mortgage rates.
Wow. We can
Mm-hmm.
make this a headline. Coffee saves homes.
Right? Yeah. But
Interesting.
politics can play a role in, even oil and gas.
Yeah.
You read something today that Biden's going to pump out a million, gas, and he's trying to help prices over July 4th.
Mhm.
We usually get that spike in gas prices. He wants to keep gas prices down over the summer, which will obviously help inflation, which will obviously help his costs, right?
Oh,
And say, hey, we're keeping inflation. We took inflation from 8% when we started to down to 3%.
no, that's fantastic. In fact,
Hmm.
Eric was saying that I think Eric on the news that something about how Target is going to actually lower their products by 25% or something.
And
Hmm.
Walmart too. Walmart is also on that same bandwagon that they've been they lowered some in the last month, and they're going to do a big cut this month for Target for sure. But Walmart's also already pretty low on a lot of things.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, there
So
was
I think inflation is going to come down, whether it's real inflation or, strategic.
Mhm.
Inflation's going to come down. I think unemployment, that's the other number we got to watch. I think if it goes over 4%, we can see something sooner. It's at 3.8% now, so we'll see.
There we go. Okay. So being the betting man, uh, do we even entice these viewers with hang on, buy now, you can lower the rates, any of that kind of fun stuff?
I'm done with marry the house, date the rate. At this point, you're going to be in a bad relationship way too long if you do that, right? So I'm done saying that. Um, everybody thought interest rates were going to go down May 10th of 2023. That didn't happen. Now March of 2024, that didn't happen. However, I think the thing that's going to get us is going to be the election year. Looking historically, if somebody needed to get reelected, kind of in the market that we're in,
Yeah.
I think that will play a role into it.
Okay.
So if I'm a betting man, I do anticipate. But again, if you're looking at 6.875 versus 6.25%, it'll help, right?
But that
But
does
it's
help.
not anything to wait.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Well, good. That's it. At least that's some good news there. I know sometimes you hate showing up here when you're like, oh, don't hit me.
I was excited. I thought the call was last week, right?
Yeah.
And it was a great day for rates. We had a major improvement, and then now it was pushed to this week. So I was, you know,
Yeah. Okay,
but
so let me ask you a question then, about people locking in rates. There's enough volatility right now with the rates that you would say you should pay to lock it in at this point or not, or
yeah, typically you don't have to pay to lock in a rate, right? But I I don't risk anybody else's money. I give the data to the customer and I let them make a informed decision with what my recommendations typically, if you can afford the payment, you're happy with the rate, I would just lock in.
okay.
Nobody truly knows in this market what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis.
Hmm.
Nobody expected inflation to come in better than it did a week ago,
Hmm.
which was favorable for rates. But I'm a big believer on just lock it in
Hmm.
So,
and get it done.
question for you that on that one.
Mhm.
If you lock it in and all of a sudden rates go down, you can relock it, right? I mean, it's kind of one of those things that you can always move forward and drop. If it drops, you're okay.
Most companies have like a lock renegotiation period, or policy, if you will. Like if it's got to lower a certain percentage to where you can renegotiate it down. But yes, if you lock and it does go down by a certain percentage, then you can renegotiate it down
Oh,
before you close.
okay.
Yeah.
Good to know, because that's a good
I
little.
honestly, if you're closing in the next couple of months, I don't anticipate really any movement in regards to interest rates.
Okay, let's hope that that's the case. I know Eric and
This
I
isn't
were.
recorded, is it?
Yeah, yeah, it is actually.
Yeah.
So when
Okay.
people look back, they can go, Joe. But yeah, Eric and I were toying with the idea of trying to buy some investment properties, and it's just the rates make it so that you're right. I'm there with everybody else. When you're looking at 7.12, whatever, then it feels a little bit more tight than obviously if it's back in the sixes. So this is actually very good news for people who have been just on the edge of not being able to maybe like make those monthly payments on a comfortable basis. So okay. Okay, so Amber, what's the story, dude?
Okay, I got so many stats pulled up. You guys aren't even ready. Okay, so we're gonna jump over to East White and talk about what's the data looks like in the Puna district and the South Hilo district. And since we have less agents on the call today, and you guys might want more fun facts, I'll jump into a couple of the popular neighborhoods as well, so you can kind of see how those compare with the overall district stats. So let's start with South Hilo. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. I'm connected. All right. So in South Hilo, we are looking at for the last full month of closed single family home sales. We have primarily single family homes in Hilo, not too many condos like over in West Hawaii. But the median sales price was $538,500. And that is actually, believe it or not, down a little bit from the month prior, where the median closed single family home sales price was $607,500. And it is also quite a bit up, weirdly, from where we were at a year ago, same time, with the median price closing for single family homes at 430,000 in the South Hilo district. So those are kind of fun all over the place stats, but there were 20 single family homes that sold in the month of April this year in South Hilo, and the average days on market for them was 61. And that is less than what we saw the month before, where it was 82, believe it or not. So things were selling a bit faster in Hilo. And same time last year, days on market was about 54 days. So that is what Hilo's looking at. List to sales price is 92.93%. So almost 93% list to sales price. So it is going to be case by case. If you find a listing that you love and you're like, if I was going to make an offer on this house, do I have to offer list price? Not necessarily. Depends on the listing, but the final list to sales price on average was 92.93% in the South Hilo district. So some fun stats there. Kind of all over the place. All right, now we'll jump to Puna. That's where most of the transactions happen over in East Hawaii. So Puna is just south of the South Hilo district. And this is where you're going to get a deal on the Big Island still, because the median price for the 78 single family homes that closed in the last full month here is $395,000. And that is actually up a little bit from the month previous in Puna, where it was $360,000. And it is also up from where we were at a year ago in Puna, where the median single family home sales price was $350,000. And in Puna, there were 78 single family homes that sold last month. So when I say that's where most of the transactions on this island happened, that's why there's a lot of single family homes being exchanged in the Puna district. And 65 was the average days on market that those homes that closed sat. That is almost the same as where we were at last month, where it was 64, and a year ago, where it was also at 64. Very similar to South Hilo, the final list to sales price of those homes that sold was 92.98%, so almost 93% again. When we look back at the month before, 95% list to sales price. A year ago, almost exactly the same list to sales price was 93.07%. So that was a lot of numbers I just threw at you. I'm going to say them one more time. South Hilo, the median sales price of the homes that closed last month, which is a good way for us to kind of track the trends, was $538,500. And in the Puna district, it was $395,000, which is again, a lot lower. I didn't look at your stats yet for West Hawaii, but I know it was a lot lower. But let's talk about the neighborhoods, because like I mentioned, every month we have risky lava zones over here in East Hawaii, just like in other parts of the island. But a lot of our sales, we do have a very active real estate market in the riskier lava zones 1 and 2, and that can kind of skew the data if you're unfamiliar with those lava zones. So we do have a couple of pretty popular neighborhoods, especially a lot of 365 buyers buy in these neighborhoods, a lot of people. So they are in a less risky lava zone. So they are in lava zone 3. So they're not affected as far as lending and homeowners insurance go, at least due to lava hazard. So that changes kind of their overall value with real estate. So one of those neighborhoods that has been really popular is one called Hawaiian Paradise Park that we talk about a lot in these updates. And I just want to give you guys a comparison because the median price, this is the listing price, so of single family homes that are actively listed in Hawaiian Paradise Park today, right now. The median price is $588,000. So even though I just mentioned that the median sales price for Puna was $395, if you're looking for a single family home in a neighborhood in Lava Zone 3 like Hawaiian Paradise Park, the median price of listings right now is $588,750.
Which is actually up a lot. I mean,
and that is,
that used to be, 285, then 300, then 400, and then now, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. And then just to kind of, let you guys know, we have quite a range, even just in that neighborhood. The lowest listing right now for a single family home, and they are using this term single family home loosely because it is for an unpermitted structure. So it technically, as far as the county permitting and the county is concerned, not a single family home, but it is listed as one. The lowest listing is $164,500. The highest listing in Hawaiian Paradise Park is 1.699 million. So we got everything in between. Again, your median is 588,000. Now, another very popular neighborhood over here in East Hawaii in the Puna district, it is in Lava Zone 3. However, it is in Pahoa, which is one of the most affordable parts of the island. But again, Lava Zone 3 still. There are 24 active single family homes on the market right now. And the median sales price is $342,000. So that kind of gives you a comparison. So in one neighborhood for a Lava Zone 3 single family home, medians of listings is sitting at about $588,000. In another neighborhood in Pahoa, called Aina Loa, which is also very popular, the median price is $342,000. So for those of you listening who maybe have different budgets or different things in mind who are looking in the Puna district, that is kind of showing you the difference in price point between Hawaiian Paradise Park and Aina Loa. If you want to reach out to me, I can go into a lot of details about the similarities and differences of those neighborhoods. I know we have some content on YouTube that we filmed about them, but that's what's going on in Puna, and specifically in a couple of the most popular Lava Zone 3 neighborhoods.
There you go. There you go. Hey, so let me ask you then, knowing that you're at 92%, if someone was to put a house on the market now, would you think about just jumping down to like that level, or put it out and then maybe get somebody to negotiate you down to that level?
So so are you talking from like the seller's perspective?
Yeah.
If you were to list your house right now?
Because some people are going to say, I want as much as I can. Zillow tells you my house is worth whatever. Yeah. And across the board, the markets is softening a little bit. Yeah.
I think it really, really depends on your motivation, and you kind of have to weigh those factors, because if you list a house, too high or ambitiously, sometimes that's going to just sit on the market longer than the average days on market. It's going to kind of become a stale listing. It might kind of be like a red flag to some buyers, like, what's wrong with this house? It's been sitting for so long. But you might get a price better than what you thought too. So I always talk through the pros and cons of like both strategies, or listing on the lower end or really aggressively to try and get it to move quickly and get like a lot of interest. Those are two different strategies. Not, have one where you might be sitting on the market a long time, but then you can come up with maybe a price reduction plan if it just sits and sits. So it really, really depends on your motivation, I think, as a seller. If you have a bottom line dollar amount that you really, really need, if you're in a hurry to sell, and as a real estate agent, it's my job to kind of educate you on the pros and cons of both and give you my best recommendation. But at the end of the day, it's up to my sellers what they decide and how they decide that they want to price. So I think the best thing to do is to not overprice and not have a stale listing that sits on the market too long. But if you do want to try and go on the higher end of, when we look at all the comparable sales and we look at what the market's doing right now, be willing to come up with a price reduction plan, so that, you aren't sitting on the market too long. And, sometimes we do see multiple offers after a good price reduction.
There you go. Good job. Thank you. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then let's pull this over to Eric, who's going to be doing the
So I am covering that. What we usually do every month is we have three different areas that we kind of look at to see what's selling and what's not. And it goes with, and we just did a video on this just recently, and we actually went to these neighborhoods and we walked through the streets and we talked about them. And we flew over, we did all kinds of cool stuff, so you get an idea. So I just thought I'd give you this month's what's for sale and what's not. We're not going to quite go into the depth that Amber did of the sales ratio and all the things that go along with it, but we'll just start here. The first one is Lokahi Makai. And there's no active listings right now. There's one contingent and two that were sold, and this is the month of April. And the one that sold, there was two that sold. One sold, it was originally listed at 988 and it sold for 965. So kind of going back there slightly below it, of course, probably 92 or 3% like it normally falls. And the second one that sold was listed at 1,099,000 and it sold for 1,075,000. So it gives you an idea, just a little bit under their asking price. I don't think that one was the 2% or something. So in the past there have been some available that are active. Shows that this neighborhood is still doing pretty well. And there's not much out there for it. And then moving on, we also have our next one is Poolani Estates, and that gives you an idea of what's up for sale. And at Poolani Estates, we have 3 actives right now, and 1 contingent and 1 sold. And we got 1 new listing that came on in the month of May. So and the one that was sale was listed at 999,000, and it sold above asking price with cash for 1,050,000, right? And the cheapest listings right now is 975, and the most expensive is 1,039,000, and that is Poolani Estates. And finally, we've got our condominium complex, and that is Ali'ilani. And that's kind of been our standard bellwether on how well the market's doing. Anywhere in the, as I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, that it used to be somewhere between 5 and 10 units that were always for sale there. And we finally gotten to that point. For a long time, there wasn't a lot selling there. But this month, we have 5 units. And we have 1 new unit in May, and we had 2 that were sold. The 2 that sold, one sold that was listed at 559,000, and it sold for 564,000, and the other was listed at 589,000, that listed for 580. And the cheapest unit there right now is $519,000. So it's just a way of checking in to see how these different neighborhoods are doing compared to what we did last time. Delaney usually had the numbers, so I'm a little at a loss of what our numbers were last month for what it was, but it seems to be that we've got some stuff available. It looks like a little more inventory is coming on.
Yeah, and also you can see that prices are softening
all the way around.
Yeah, and so and nationally, like Joe was saying, it's amazing what happens when free money is no longer available. That does cause some pressure on the housing prices. But we've also seen, I think, just like looking around too, is that some sellers still think it's 2022, and they like to price a little high. And so it looks like the buyers are coming in and kind of like what they're doing in East Hawaii too. They're kind of saying, you know what? How about we lower that a little bit? But when we have been going to our broker meetings, there's probably about oh my gosh, you guys, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like 17 new homes were coming on the market to everyone to watch and go around to the tour. And then like last week it was like 4, and like today it was like 7 or 8. So just kind of like this up and down spring market experience. But Eric, would you say that from what you've been seeing out there in terms of condos, we have something for sale that actually is on the market, but it's not being scooped up right away. So we were looking at Lance's numbers, right? And it looked like the condo market was like really cooking. But then we also saw some people saying that their houses are being put back on the market, or they're trying to like say, hey, I've got motivated sellers. Do you have anything about that?
So if I always go back, there's things that of course sell right away. The good stuff is selling rather fast, but there's some things that will also sit there for a little while as well. So we're seeing kind of a combination of all of the above. And if anybody's interested, we have a lovely ocean view condo at Kona Eastwood, and it's just it came back on the market through no fault of the sellers, and it has an epic ocean view, and it's a 2-2 that is out there.
Right. And that MLS number is 708147. We'll put it in the description. I would love to sell that all day long. But so I'm glad that Andy Madrid has shown up. He is from Keller Williams. And Andy, right on cue. Do you have some information for us about what's happening in the southern part of the island?
I wish I had more.
Okay,
been-
well, we
been a
all
day.
sparse today was twice. So let's hear what's going on your side.
What do we have going on? It's interesting. There are 33 homes on the market now. I'm sorry, strike that. There are 55 active listings on the market in the Ocean View Estates, Ocean View Ranchos market, which is the big area here. Interestingly, though, the number of homes that are actually permitted are about 30. You know,
We still have to get that video.
and prices for unpermitted homes are climbing. It's
Ooh.
kind of shocking.
Yeah.
We have homes going up to 300 grand that are unpermitted properties here,
Yeah.
and a sprinkling of some that are over. But so the starting price point to buy something that has got permits behind it's about 250, but between 250 and 300 grand, you have a mix of both permitted and unpermitted homes. And to me, it's just phenomenal that they're getting, they're not only are they asking, but they're also getting those kind of prices
Yeah.
for their
Yeah, but
properties.
if you only have $300,000 to spend on the house, and Amber was just saying that the price in HPP, the median price now has gone over 525, that really the most affordable thing you can do is buy an unpermitted place in the risky lava zone, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are neighborhoods that have lower priced homes
Yeah, they're smaller, let's say.
that are they're not on an acre.
Yeah. So
Very few
you
people
get
buy
less-
out here
less
think you're
land.
buying an acre,
Yeah.
And then moving on the south end of the island, Discovery Harbor, there are 33 homes for sale. That would be Discovery Harbor, Mark Twain Estates, Green Sands subdivision.
Okay.
The 33 homes priced between 449 and 935.
Okay.
Mostly permitted homes
Yeah.
there. Average days on market in both neighborhoods is about 110.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
are you
days
saying-
on market.
okay. So then when you're saying about the amount of houses that are on the market this month, is that going up from over the last month or two?
Slightly. We're seeing some more.
Okay.
Some more come on the market. We're just not seeing as much go into escrow, out here because the prices, well, interest rates being where they are at and home prices where they're at. I mean, people are kind of waiting. I mean,
Mhm.
I find it, because I live here and I know what the values of properties are here. To me, it's just kind of surprising because we've got we've got several, once you get above, say, 600,000.
Yeah.
There are other areas of the island that you might be more attractive, but you get closer to Kona. I always tell people at $600,000, that opens up a lot of choices. You can be in HPP, you can be, much closer to Kona. So you really have access to services, amenities, in neighborhoods that tend to attract more buyers at that price point than we would. But we've got listings that are, like I said, 935. We got one that's 1.299 million here in Ocean View. It's like shooting.
It better be a palace.
Well, it's on 3 acres, but still, it's Ocean View.
Yeah. Is it on the lava field or is it at least in the part where it has the
No, it's on the lava field.
field?
It's on the lava field.
There's a butt for every seat in this town.
There is. So I didn't have a whole lot that was different. I mean, again, there's a bunch of land, 229 parcels of land are for sale. You get those cheap,
Yeah.
about $8,000 and up.
Yeah.
People that want to buy raw land.
Yeah.
So have it out here.
And all the fun that goes with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to try and do a video with Andy about the fact that the unpermitted homes experience is something that you really need to know about before you buy a house. So they say sometimes people just kind of brush that whole thing aside, and there's the values, and the risks and the threats and everything else are something that you should consider more. And
Where,
really good,
you
right?
know, if you don't, a lot of people will come out here and say, I want to buy an acre or two.
Mhm.
And they come out and they're like, well, that's a lot of land. What are you going to do with it? I'm like, exactly. What are you going to do with it? So if you're not that tied to that much, because a lot of it, okay, you're buying it on lava field. What are you going to do with it? You got to jackhammer it if you want to plant. Growing conditions aren't always as good, particularly on the lower price points because you're usually higher elevation. But, I mean, I list a lot of property kind of all over the South, both the Southwest, South and Southeast side. And you start looking at particularly if you don't need to be on an acre,
Mhm.
some of these lava zone 2 neighborhoods, there's some really attractively priced properties, particularly when you start over like the Hawaiian Beaches, Hawaiian Shores neighborhoods.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's something to consider because I was telling Amber that when we go and drive around HPP that all of those are on acre lots and somebody
Mhm.
has to spend the money to landscape that when it's been completely mowed down and has nothing around it anymore besides red cinder, right? So it costs money
People
to put
really,
that
right.
stuff in. Yeah. So if you're saying, well, maybe that's not what I want to do, maybe you look at something that has a little bit less land, but you get maybe a little bit better price. And so, but is
Yeah.
Ocean, is the Hawaiian Ocean, not HOB, but the one you just said, Hawaiian?
Oh, Hawaiian Shores, Hawaiian
Yeah.
Beaches.
What's the average lot size on that?
Oh, anywhere from 9,100 square feet to maybe 11,000.
Okay.
Every now and then you get something a little bit bigger, but they're small. Like in Hawaiian Shores recreational states, there's an HOA, but I'll tell you, I'll take the HOA all day long. The benefits that they get out there in that subdivision, the roads are like glass. They're really nice roads, and they take care of the landscaping out there along the curbs. And you have piped water and mail delivery.
Yeah,
And it's cheap, $435 a year.
that's great. And you get mail
Yeah.
delivery?
You get mail delivered to your house.
People
Yeah.
don't even know about that whole thing with the PO box experience. And
Yeah. I mean, I have a PO box. HPP's got cluster mailboxes. They're putting a whole bunch of new ones in on 4th.
Yeah. Well, that's good because they keep building more homes out there. So yeah.
Yeah, but the
So
prices in HPP, like Amber mentioned, I mean, they're
going
getting
up.
climbing up there,
Yeah. It's not the Wild West it used to be. And now with also some of the amenities with the shopping center coming in and all the other things out there, it's it's
Oh
turning out
yeah.
nice
I mean,
to-
I always tell people, when it comes to like people say, I want to come here and I want to buy something really inexpensive. I don't want to carry a mortgage. I totally get that
Mhm.
because I
I get
pay
a lot of
mine
that.
in November.
And people are always like saying, hey, what can I get where I can just sell my house in the mainland and not have to have a
Oh my
mortgage?
gosh.
I
Yeah.
don't want to spend a penny over what I can just afford. And then they find
Right.
themselves in the 450 range. So
You can get for a similar price point, you're much closer to a lot of amenities being in the Pahoa area than you would be in Ocean View at a similar price point. You don't have the view of the water because you just can't get it. The land's too flat.
mhm,
And you don't have an acre, but you're also not on lava either.
yeah. You can get one or the other. You can come to Kona, guys, and you get the view of the water and you're not on lava, but you'll pay $1.3 million. So yeah, and you guys, we always kind of like go down to, oh, where can you get a deal? You know what? Okay, in Kona, there's no deals. There is not, but you get to live in Kona, and that's the deal right there. So
Yeah,
we're
no,
seeing a lot of the houses coming on for, like today when they were doing the what's on the market, there's a few houses in the $2.1 million range, maybe two. One lady said she's got a steal for 1.2 in one of the neighbors around us, and there's a variety of condos coming on, and they're going anywhere between 500 and 700. So
Mhm.
again, at least with Kona, is that you do have the opportunity to get into a decent condo for something less than 800,000. But yes, if you're looking for land, and if you're looking for a big house, yes, other parts of the island might be a little bit more.
I mean, if you want to live rural, like, I mean, I'm on a couple of acres, but and I have a really nice view, but you do have that little bit of commute. I mean, and it's not unique here. It's like anywhere you go, you want to be close to a city, you want to be close to things.
You're going to pay more.
You're going to pay more for that. You want to live more rural, you want to be a little bit more out there. And people come out here because they don't want to be bothered. They're tired of the rat race on the mainland. They don't want to deal with all of that. They want to come out here and like, I don't want to be your neighbor. I don't want to be nice. I want to
Don't
run
talk to
around
me.
without my clothes on. Don't talk to me. That's people move out
Oh,
here.
that's a completely different experience in condo living, that's for sure. Yeah.
I have a client
But,
right now.
yeah.
I just listed her house
Uh-huh.
and she's thinking about moving off the island. And pretty much her price point is going to put her in a condo because she's looking at like Oahu, she's looking at Molokai, and she doesn't want to be on the Big Island anymore. But I'm like, at your price point, that's where you're going to end up,
There you go. And I know we're trying to help our seller condo, and she's got this beautiful ocean view. Like you stand there on the lanai, you can see from here to here. What this would cost you in Oahu or Maui is like exorbitant. So some days you say, a Big Island does actually have an opportunity to like give people some decent affordable housing, like
Yeah.
in some level. I want to bring Joe into this. Joe, have you, in terms of like, the business that you're kind of like hearing people saying, how you need a mortgage and stuff, do you see an uptick in people looking for mortgages right now? Or do you think right across the board, people are still kind of like saying, I can't afford it right now, I'm going to wait? Are you seeing maybe some hope in the market as people trying to like get their application started?
I am, yeah. Just recently, we've had a good uptick just with the spring market. It's still kind of that affordability piece for everybody, right? With home prices not necessarily declining, right? They're softening a little bit, but with rates still elevated, we still have that affordability piece. But there's different ways that we can combat that with different buy down options and things like that from a mortgage standpoint. So, but I have seen an uptick just recently within the past 30 days on my end.
There you go. There you go. Well, we keep talking about the fact that if you wait for the mortgage rates to go down to 5, then you'll be in there with everybody else. So, keep that in mind. And Andy, what you missed is there's some good news for mortgage rates. So you'll have to
I
hit
heard
the
that they
replay.
seem to be sliding a little bit.
They
Ever
do.
since
That's a good day. And
I had
also,
a conversation with clients today
I,
about
yeah,
like we want the price reduction. We don't want the credit. That's the husband's like, I don't want the credit. I want the price reduction on the price. I'd rather not take the credit. I'm like, a price reduction. I said, what does that really do to your mortgage? Like you're going to save a whole 65 cents, maybe,
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
a
No, I
dollar.
always tell people before you do a price reduction, ask for a seller credit because bang for, dollar for dollar, it's going to give you a credit. You can keep your money. I'd rather you keep your money
That's what I
invested
tell
somewhere else,
you can buy down your interest rate. You can pay your closing costs. You can make those repairs or improvements. The house needed a washer and dryer. Go out and buy it. You're
Right.
not going to get any of that with a little blip in your mortgage in your.
Right. Let's say you reduce the price $10,000. That's going to lower your payment $60 a month.
oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for a lot of people, $60
Is negligible, that's a dinner. That's a drink in Kona now. I do want to say that one of the things that if you're watching this is that the Ka'u Coffee Festival is coming up. Eric and I were just down there, and we
Mhm.
talked to a lot of the farmers down there.
And you
And
didn't come see me.
I know we're going to go back. We're going back on June 1st when the coffee farm, when they're going to do for the whole week, June 1st to the 8th. But the people we spoke with down there, Ka'u is coming up. Just the fact that they have award-winning coffee down there, they're doing all new different kinds of things. There's some young energy down there. I think that, we talk about, Discovery Harbor and, people say, oh, it's kind of far away. I think it's one of those things that area is going to be kind of gemmy. And
There's a
so,
lot of little coffee farms there. My favorite coffee actually comes from a Ka'u farm.
yeah.
And it's this little small purveyor. So the place I go to get my coffee, they don't even offer the beans for sale. It's very limited. So
Wow. Well, because if you love coffee, and as Joe said today, the price of coffee is going off the hook right now with the pricing. So, go check it out because you might get some really great coffee. And most people don't realize that the Ka'u coffee region actually it sits on 500 feet of ash. Pahala actually means ash. So the soil makes the coffee, but those little resilient coffee farmers are amazing. But it's such a beautiful part of the island too. And so, talk to the Andy about maybe something that might be available down in that area if you're thinking about being a farmer or if you want to just be in a place that's up and coming. So there you go. Okay, so it's 45 minutes in. So does anybody have anything else that they want to impart upon our wonderful human beings that have watched us here Zoomland? No? Okay, I'm gonna give you two things. We have another update happening on the 20th of June. So everybody here in this mix, put that down. We have East Hawaii. Hopefully Amber's gonna be helping us on Wednesday, the 5th of June for East Hawaii. And then we hopefully hope to have the West Hawaii update. And then also all of these people will take your phone calls immediately in terms of buying, selling, or getting a mortgage. So we will put everybody's contact information into the description below. Please subscribe and let us know if you want to hear specific things. I did get somebody who said that they wanted to hear a little bit more about Kalapana. So maybe we can touch on that next time if you're prepared to talk about, that area. So we will go and say aloha and everybody enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Hello.
Aloha.